New reporting out today that the U.S. Secret Service is unable to pay its agents and its bills. According to USA Today, more than 1,000 agents have already hit limits for salary and overtime allowances. Only Congress can raise those caps, and even if it does, some agents will still not be paid for hours they've already worked. Now, one problem is that this administration has more people to protect. 42 members of the Trump administration, including 18 Trump family members, have protection compared to 31 during the Obama administration. President Trump also travels almost every weekend, which costs more than staying put in the White House. As of today, the 213th day of the Trump presidency, President Trump has spent 65 days at Trump properties. That's almost one-third of his administration. Each of the president's 5 children also have full-time Secret Service protection that follows them wherever they go, and they travel a great deal as well. Recently, Trump kids have been in Lake Placid, Aspen, North Dakota within the U.S., and abroad, the Dominican Republic, Germany, Hungary, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, Italy, and the United Arab Emirates, and Uruguay, among many others. The irony is that before he was president, Donald Trump was incredibly critical of President Obama for his travel, which was not as frequent as this president. In 2011, Trump tweeted, "The habitual vacationer at Barack Obama is now in Hawaii. This vacation is costing taxpayers $4 million plus, while there is 20% unemployment. And why did Barack Obama and his family travel separately to Martha's Vineyard? They love to extravagantly spend on the taxpayer's dime." Some of the money the Secret Service pays to rent golf carts at Trump resorts or stay in Trump Tower is paid to the Trump Organization, we should point out, meaning that the Trump Organization is actually making money from the Secret Service and from taxpayers. The Secret Service responded to the USA Today story, claiming this doesn't have anything to do with the size of the Trump protection needs or the president's frequent travel. They said, quote, "This issue is not one that can be attributed to the current administration's protection requirements, but rather has been an ongoing issue for nearly a decade due to an overall increase in operational tempo." Joining me now is Kevin Johnson, the USA Today reporter who broke the story. Kevin, it's an amazing story. To what the Secret Service now has come out with a statement saying it's just an increase in operational tempo, but I don't quite understand. It seems like a big part of or at least a part of the increase in operational tempo is they have so many more members of the Trump administration to cover and so much more travel.
That's correct. The Trump family has 18 members who are covered by security details, and that has driven a large part of the increase, as you mentioned earlier, up to 42 from 31 during the previous administration. So in talking with Director Ailes, I spoke to him personally, and he indicated that President Trump, he acknowledged President Trump's large family, but he also indicated that there's really nothing that he can do about that and wouldn't attempt to do anything about it. His mission is quite inflexible, so he's working with what he's been dealt.
I think a lot of people are also surprised to learn that the Secret Service has to pay, the Trump Organization to rent golf carts. I think, more than tens of thousands of dollars so far just spent on golf carts because the president plays golf so much, and the Secret Service obviously, understandably, has to follow him around and, paying to be in Trump Tower, although they had now this dispute and they're out in a shack, I guess, or some sort of trailer out on the street.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother story altogether. The potential conflicts that exist as the Secret Service carries out its mission in protecting the family members and others. You mentioned the trips that the family members have gone on. The sons gone off to attend events that are related to Trump properties. Those are trips that the Secret Service has no say over what they do, and merely has become a condition of their protective requirement.
Also, it seems like a lot of members of the administration who in past administrations have not had protective details do now. I mean, I think the head of the EPA has one. I think the Secretary of Education has one as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a lot about this administration obviously is different. I think what is different really for the Secret Service, the way it was explained to me, is that they've never had this type of an arrangement where you have adult children who have business interests as far-flung as they do and require travel as part of that business. So it's been a new challenge for them to adapt to this reality.
Also, obviously, I mean, everybody who needs protection should get protection. They're working for the American people, and they're working in government. What is the solution here? Is it just a matter of Congress appropriating more funds?
Well, I think that there was an expectation last fall when this problem was first raised after a contentious election cycle. 1,400 Secret Service agents had reached their caps. They were maxed out in annual pay and overtime. And that prompted Congress to approve a one-time fix to ensure that all those 1,400 would be paid for the overtime that they earned during that whole season. There was that expectation, though, that the work would normalize after the inauguration. Obviously, that hasn't happened. So what it will take in order for these folks to be paid will be another approval by Congress to raise the caps. And Director Ailes has proposed or is talking with lawmakers about raising that cap from 161,000 to 187,000. But even with those caps, or with that cap, if it's approved, more than 100, 130 will still not be paid what they're owed.
That's incredible. I think they've already worked and not going to be paid for the overtime. Kevin Johnson, I appreciate the reporting. Really fascinating article in USA Today. Speaking of frequent travel straining the Secret Service budget, the president is leaving town again tomorrow to campaign in Phoenix, holding one of those rallies that he so enjoys. The city's mayor last week asked him to postpone the visit because it comes so soon after the tragedy in Charlottesville, Virginia. But also, he said, because of the possibility that the president is going to pardon the controversial former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. The mayor, who's a Democrat, said, quote, "A pardon of Arpaio can be viewed only as a presidential endorsement of the lawlessness and discrimination that terrorized Phoenix's Latino community." Arpaio faces up to 6 months in prison for ignoring a court order that he stopped racial profiling of people who he thought looked like undocumented immigrants. Gary Tuchman is in